Mosquito, he flies high. Mosquito, he flies low. That old mosquito lands on me. Ain't gonna fly no more.
Well, welcome back. Cindy Dole here, and this is Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. 888-KFWB-980. You're going to want to keep that number. I know you've got a bug question. 888-539-2980. Who doesn't have an encounter with a bug that kind of makes you go, ew? Or maybe you're one of those guys or gals and just go, you know, that's a beautiful creature. I love that bug. Well, we're talking bugs because summer is the time when, whether you love them or you hate them, we've got to figure out a way to deal with it because they're coming out. And I thought we'd have a guy who knows all about it. He's an entomologist, meaning he's a very smart guy in bugs. And he's another vice president of commercial services for Western Exterminator. So good to have you here. And Mike, thanks for being here. Mike Lawton.
Hey, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. And you've been with Western for 33 years.
33 years.
We're waiting to see if it sticks, you were saying, right?
I think I'm stuck.
So paint a picture for us. When you were a little boy, were you one of those kids who were collecting spiders and bugs and putting them in jars and then scaring girls and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I don't know about scaring girls, but I did collect a lot of bugs, and it didn't stop with bugs. There was snakes and frogs, and you name it, I was collecting it.
You were just loving it, huh?
Loving every minute of it.
So you watch the Nature Channel and all that stuff. You love it. Yeah?
I do.
Uh-huh. So what is it that you love about them? Because a lot of us are kind of freaked out by them.
Well, because there's so many of them, and there's such a wide variety.
The colors can be pretty amazing.
Yeah, and they affect every part of society. They affect agriculture, our homes, businesses. They're everywhere. And I was always fortunate once I got into this business of controlling them and seeing how well we can control them. And I got a good feeling from that, helping people control their insects.
Right. But there are good bugs and bad bugs, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes we talk about beneficial bugs, using them in the garden to get the other bad bugs.
Yes, you
right?
can. Yes, you can.
I mean, it's all kind of the full cycle of life, right?
Absolutely.
So we want to talk through what are the bad bugs, because maybe there's some myths and maybe there are some things that we don't know that they're pretty darn serious and we should pay attention. So first is the thing that everyone's talking about is the darn bed bug. And I heard that it's supposed to be really bad this year. Is that true?
Yeah, it looks like it is shaping up to be a little bit worse than last year.
Yeah.
It's been getting worse every year for the last 7, 8, 9 years.
And what does it do? Does it literally bites into your skin and you bleed?
Yes, it does. It bites and goes through your skin, and it sucks your blood.
Have you let a bed bug get on you just so you could experience it?
I've let them get on me, but I've never had one feed on me yet. And I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah?
No.
Ew. And I love now that you guys at Western are getting dogs or commissioning dogs that hunt.
Yeah, that's right.
You can have them come to my home and in my bedroom and say, okay, do I have bed bugs or not? And the dog would know, yes, you have them.
That's right. Dogs have incredibly sensitive noses, 3 million times more sensitive than our own, and they can be trained to sniff out the odors given off by bed bugs, and they do it very efficiently and very accurately.
So why do we have so many bed bugs? They've come in from overseas.
They do. They're coming in from other countries, and one of the things that happened is small levels of bed bugs were been around since the 70s and 80s. And we just don't have the kind of chemicals that we used to have back in the 40s and 50s when they were all over the U.S., and they're starting to make a resurgence. And globalization has really fueled that. People coming from other countries here, people from other countries coming to school here, bringing them on from dormitories, and there's been a resurgence, quite a resurgence, especially in Southern California.
I was just thinking how other countries might say, those bugs, we didn't have a problem until they came over from America. They're probably throwing it the same way, Okay, so let's talk about the stink bug then, because the stink bug, I've never experienced a stink bug. Have you smelled the odor that a stink bug makes?
Yeah, there's a lot of stink bugs in California. The one you're probably referring to is called the marmorated stink bug. It came in from Asia. It's a real problem on the East Coast right now, like in Maryland. It does occur in California, but it's not a problem yet, mostly in Northern California, even though it has been recorded in Oregon and Washington. But
what do they do besides stink up the place?
They attack crops, vegetable crops.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, and they can just lay an entire vegetable crop down to zero. And very economically damaging to the farmers, absolutely.
So they're in Northern California right now?
Yeah, but they're not a problem.
They're not a problem?
Not anything like on the East Coast.
And why is it not a problem here, but it is?
They've only been introduced here since around 2004, so they really haven't gotten a hold on our economy out here.
Huh, okay. Interesting. Well, then, so let's talk about the more common bugs that we might relate to, because I guess that the bed bug and the stink bug, not everyone encounters them regularly, right?
No.
Bees.
Bees. Bees are very common.
We need bees.
We do, but sometimes...
We have a shortage of bees, right?
Well, we do, but actually the bees are coming back. They're doing quite well. Beekeepers are doing quite well, and the resurgence has been phenomenal in the last year or two. So we're not down bees like we thought we were. But bees are great. Yeah, they're great for agriculture, and they make honey, and we buy honey, we eat honey. But the problem is bees, when they get inside your home...
That's not so good.
That's not good.
I'll never forget, I guess it was a couple years ago, all of a sudden I saw this flank of bees. They looked like Harrier jets, about 10 of them, all kind of heading toward the window in my kitchen. I'm like, what in the heck? It looked like some kind of a sci-fi movie. Why are they trying to come on in? And sure enough, we found out. I could hear, and there was the queen bee was not inside the house, but in the air duct above our stovetop. So it was concealed, but you could hear them all in there, and they were trying to get to the queen.
Well, probably what happened was an older queen left the colony. The colony split in half, took a bunch of worker bees with her, and she's trying to find a new colony, to start a new colony, and they just took a rest on your side of your house. They're going to be there for a couple hours, maybe a day. Maybe they'll find something to take advantage of right at your house. Maybe they'll find a wall void or something. If not, they'll take off and they'll go somewhere else.
Have you ever had to encounter like a lot of bees and wear one of those beekeeper outfits?
Absolutely.
You have?
Yes. Especially the killer bee.
I bet that's kind of cool if you know you're protected. It's almost like being in one of those Jaws
It is and
shark
it isn't.
cages.
Because,
you
for
know,
example,
no?
the killer bees, they are so aggressive, they actually just ping back and forth off your bee suit.
Really?
And you're just hoping they're not going to get through.
So have you ever been bitten or stung?
I've been stung by bees,
by
not
that?
by the killer bee. But I've been in situations where hundreds of killer bees were all around me.
Really?
Yes.
And that doesn't scare you, or a little bit?
Well, it did for a little bit, but once you're in the throes for about 15 or 20 minutes, it's not as bad as you think.
So if we think that we have a bee problem, should we be worried, or just don't worry about it?
Well, I wouldn't worry about it unless they're causing a problem. You know, if people are getting stung or they're very close to like a playground or your house, you probably should do something about it.
Wasps bother me more, or the yellow jackets. They seem, because they're more the meat eater, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're very aggressive, and they can be very problematic in picnic areas and things like that, because they're attracted to the food that you have out.
Yeah, all the time.
And they can sting you. And they hurt.
They're so persistent. I mean, they won't leave. And it seems like whenever I try some of the store-bought things that you put out, the citronellas or whatever, like, they're laughing at that. They're hanging over the meat.
Yeah, a lot of the yellow jackets nest in the ground, and you don't know it until you get right up next to the opening, and then all of a sudden you got 10, 20, 30 yellow jackets coming after you, trying to sting you. So people gardening out in the yard and things like that.
All right.
They're not fun to have around.
No, they aren't. So we want to definitely say that those are among the bad of our list of bads.
Yes, I mean, insects have their part to play, and the part is usually a good part. But like I said, when they get around your homes and get around you, they can be bad.
All right. Well, still ahead, we're going to talk more bug talk about what you should consider a bad bug versus a good bug, with the summertime welcoming the bugs of all kinds out of the woodwork, literally. Cindy Dole, this is Home Wizards, sponsored by the California Farm Water Coalition, making sure that we have water flowing in the state so we can have abundant food at affordable prices. Call on in at 888-539-2980. We are back with more bug talk in a flash.
Strong, listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look over.
Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
Are you kind of afraid of spiders? I don't mind them, except the black widow. I'm not a fan of the black widow. But anyway, we're talking bugs. Cindy Dole, Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. Maybe you've got a bug question. It's 888-539-2980, 888-KFWB-980. You're welcome to join on in, because we're talking with a guy who's a bug expert, an entomologist, and a vice president of commercial over at Western Exterminator, Mike Lawton. So, Mike, thanks for hanging. Your eyes just light up when you're talking about bugs.
I love bugs.
Except the killer bee.
Really.
But they really are a wonder. You know what I mean? As long as they're staying over there, they're not bugging me, so to speak, right?
Yeah, they're very interesting creatures. I mean, bugs are incredible.
They are. And you had a great time at the insect fair.
A very good time.
Yeah.
A lot of people came by to see us.
That's a great time for kids to learn, right?
It is.
And just enjoy how it all works. So let's talk about some of the bad bugs, though, again. Speaking of the itsy-bitsy spider, the black widow. I've seen them under my grill before. Are we seeing them a lot in Southern California this year?
There's a lot in Southern California. They get to be a little bit worse as you get away from the coast, because they like it hot and dry. So along the coast, they're not that big of a problem. But once you get like in the Riverside, San Bernardino area, some of the drier parts of the state where it gets hot, they can be pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. And so what is your recommendation if you're seeing one? What do you do?
Well, if you see one, you got to knock it down, try to kill it with a broom or something, unless you're going to have an exterminator come out and take a look at it. But they like clutter. They like other insects, obviously, to feed. That's what they feed on. So if you have other bugs congregating and collecting on your property because of clutter and a lot of weeds and things like that, you're going to probably have black widows.
Other spiders? What about the brown recluse?
The brown recluse really, it doesn't occur at all in Southern California.
It's a myth, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it is. And, people are not going to get bit by the brown recluse in Southern California for the most part.
So really, if we see a spider, minus the black widow with that classic red violin on its little belly, the other spiders don't worry about them?
Well, some spiders can bite, and you can feel them, but the black widow has a toxin that can hurt you.
Right.
Yeah.
But the typical house spider that you're going to see,
they're not going to bother you for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, all spiders have toxins to a certain extent, but they're not as dangerous as the black widow.
All right. Mosquitoes. Not a fan of the mosquitoes.
No, mosquitoes can be problematic. I
Yeah.
mean, they're another bloodsucker, and if you don't manage the water around your property, you have stagnant water, mosquitoes can build up, and if you don't have good screens, you leave your doors open, they'll come in and they'll get you at night. And if you react to them, you'll be itching, you'll have red sores all over, and it's not a good bug to have around.
And they spread disease,
They
encephalitis,
can,
right?
Absolutely.
West Nile.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Have we heard, is it going to be a bad year for the mosquito? I mean, we had that rain.
We did, and it's hard to tell right now. Some people are projecting a bad summer, but some people aren't, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. For those of us who have dogs or cats, what about fleas and ticks?
Fleas and ticks aren't as big a problem as they were years and years ago because we have better materials that we can put on the dog and cat that prevent the fleas and ticks. But ticks can still be a problem out in the hotter parts of the state if you leave your dog out all the time and you go taking your dog in the woods and things like that. You don't protect them with some of the materials you can buy over the counter and through veterinarians. They can be a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Termites. This is the time when they start coming in.
Absolutely. Termites are always a problem in Southern California. We have the subterranean termite, which just finished up their swarming because they swarm during the springtime after the heavy rains. And then we still look forward to the drywood termites, which will be swarming in July, August, and September. They're the ones that live above ground in the wood, and they don't need a connection to the ground. And, of course, we have to fumigate for in many cases.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ants. I mean, here we are going to be barbecuing, right? And the ants are going to be crawling around our food.
Everybody's going to have the Argentine ant. That's our main pest in Southern California. They're everywhere. You can't get rid of them for the most part, and they can be a complete nuisance.
Yeah, but they don't hurt us?
No, not really. Not really.
Yeah. You know what bugs me is the fly. I mean, I'm sitting out on the patio, and no matter what I do, some of them are really nasty. I mean, they bite, it feels like.
Some can, and our common fly, the house fly, is all over Southern California, and again, if you're attracting them to your property or letting them breed on your property, especially around garbage cans and dumpsters and things like that, they can be a real problem, let alone they get inside your house and they start landing on food. You don't know where they've been landing on.
Well, that's the thing is I think one time a fly got inside the house and we killed the fly. But the next day or maybe a few days later, there were like multiple flies, like crawling on the window. And I guess we discovered that the fly that we'd killed had laid eggs. And unbeknownst to us, and now all of a sudden there's new little baby flies. And it's
well,
like,
the baby flies couldn't have emerged that quickly, but it could have been, another type of fly that came attracted to your property, maybe a midge or something like that.
Terrible. What about for those of us who love birds? And we're going to be talking a little bit later about chickens, but I mean, birds and insects, in terms of what we should worry about and making sure that we have a sanitary household area.
Yeah, birds in general can carry different types of mites. Now, mites aren't insects. They're related to the spiders, but they're very, very small, and they actually feed on the bird. And
so we have a pond, and the birds come swooping in and drink out of the pond.
Yeah, well, you could have some small mites deposited in and around that pond. That's why when you have bird baths in your yard, you shouldn't let little kids touch the water because you just don't know what's in that water from the birds.
Well, then what happens?
Well, they could get sick. I mean, there could be viruses, could be bacteria, it could be small mites. Birds are not exactly the cleanest animals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Earwigs. Oh, my gosh. Can I tell you, I can't stand earwigs.
They are scary sometimes. They can build up in great numbers around your property, and they get inside. They're a nuisance. But they're interesting insects because the females actually take care of their babies for a while. They really protect their eggs. So they're a great pest to have around.
I think my favorite is the ladybug. I mean, who doesn't love the ladybug, right?
Ladybugs are good bugs.
In fact, we have some in our refrigerator right now, and tonight.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. It's not that it's not we're going to be eating them, but it's a little trick that you force them into hibernation for a couple of days until you're ready to put them on your roses.
Put them in, okay,
because
good.
they're going to get to work about 5 tonight. We're going to put them on those roses, and they will be
fantastic.
Just waking up, because otherwise they'll go flying away. This way, they're going to stay in the controlled space. They're going to go to work. They're going to eat those aphids, and then they can fly.
They'll do a good job for you. That's a good idea.
But a lot of people who come to the refrigerator go, "What the heck? You got some?" We've also talked about other beneficial bugs. What do you think about the praying mantid?
Praying mantises are good bugs.
Yeah.
And if you have them in your garden or your home, you should leave them alone.
Scary looking, though, sometimes.
They are.
How they turn their head around. It's almost like 360 degrees.
Yeah, they are scary. And
But
some of them get pretty big.
They won't hurt you.
Not really. I mean, they may grab you with their claws, and it may hurt a little bit. But
really?
Yeah, they're not going to bite you or anything.
They're going to grab you with their claws?
Well, they can, yeah. And they have real raspy claws.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I'm hearing that if we don't want to use pesticides in your yard, a good solution is to go outside with a flashlight in your garden. Is that something that you would suggest we do?
What are you doing with the flashlight?
You're just looking.
No, well, you got to do something once you find them.
And then we get the pesticides later on, I guess.
Yeah, well, you don't need pesticides all the time in your yard. It depends on how you manage your yard and what the environment outside looks like and how you manage your water and things like that. I mean, you can keep the bugs down to a very, very small minimum if you manage your yard pretty well.
So what are the top 5 bugs that you think we need to have that we love, that are important, that we should say, you know what, they're a friend to us? Keep doing what you're doing, bug.
Honeybees, obviously.
Honeybees?
And I think any of the bees and wasps are very beneficial. Uh-huh. And then there are other beneficial bugs like ladybugs you just mentioned.
Right.
And even termites serve their purpose because they reduce, wood out in the forest and everything down to the natural elements. Of course, you don't want them around your house, though.
Yeah. What about, what's it called, the silverfish?
Silverfish are a real nuisance.
Those are kind of creepy looking. You see them all of a sudden in your bathroom sink.
Absolutely. And then if you let them get a hold of your house, you can have them everywhere. And they feed on starches, and they come out at night, and they're very fast, and they're just not good to have around.
How about the cockroach? We can't forget the cockroach. I mean, when you see a cockroach, you think, oh, something is really dirty here. But that isn't necessarily true.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, cockroaches aren't known to transmit diseases, even though they can be visiting garbage and things like that. And then they're, touching your food quite possibly or running across your counter. But the German cockroach is the most common we have in Southern California that lives in a home. But we do have other cockroaches that live outside. The American cockroach, which is our biggest one, and the Oriental cockroach. And they tend to come from sewers. So you don't want them coming into your house and not, contaminating.
Yeah. What's the biggest cockroach you've seen?
The biggest I've seen, actually handled, is the Madagascar hissing cockroach.
And it hisses, too?
The males hiss, yes they do.
Ooh.
And they're kind of scary.
What
but the kids love them.
Like that?
Yep, just like that.
Really?
Very, very good, Cindy.
Oh, my gosh. That is kind of creepy. But I guess it doesn't really hurt you. It just scares you to death.
No, they make good pets, actually.
Makes a good pet.
Yeah, and they live quite long, 4, 5, 6 years.
So now, do you have bugs as pets at your house?
No, I don't have bugs at my house.
Do you have an ant farm?
I don't have an ant farm. We do have insects at the office. So
I know you do.
We draw the line. We keep them at the office.
You don't even have a butterfly collection?
I do have some butterflies, mounted butterflies.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of books on bugs.
I bet you do. Our big thing right now is the monarch butterfly.
They're beautiful.
And we're just so fascinated by bringing the milkweed to our garden and how it's just this whole big magical experience because the monarch knows instinctively to find it, lays its egg. All of a sudden, now you've got this gorgeous caterpillar. That's the monarch caterpillar.
Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful butterflies. And,
that's a good one.
People who manage their gardens to attract insects like that, it can really enhance your garden.
Well, tell everybody the website so they can find you and ask more bug questions if they all of a sudden go, wait a minute, I have a bug question.
It's west-ext.com.
All right.
And we have a lot of information about a lot of different pests on that website.
And you're never afraid.
Never afraid.
Even when the lights are out.
Even when the lights are out.
Okay. And when you go to a hotel, though, don't you take the bedspread off?
I didn't used to. I have started recently because of the bed bug increase, but I sometimes forget.
And we know not to put the suitcase on the bed, that whole thing.
Yes, that's what
Right?
That's what they tell you.
Because then it's going to put the bed bugs are going to get onto your suitcase, and then you're going to bring them home. So don't do that.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, Mike Lawton, fun having you. Thank you.
Thanks.
And by the way, there's another fun website. It's called whatsthatbug.com. I checked it out. It's kind of fun. There's all these different kind of an eyed elater. I mean, this bug looks like it's got human eyes. Really creepy. Mike Lawton, thanks again from Western Exterminator. All right. Well, free bird. We're going to talk about having chickens in your backyard or your front yard or who knows where to basically have your own homegrown eggs. It's very popular. It's all about being sustainable, and we're going to talk with the chick of chicks. This is Cindy Dole, a very special home wizard that is brought to you today by the California Farm Water Coalition, making sure that water flows in the state so we can have food in abundance at affordable prices. Cindy Dole, we're back after this.